So those of you who were on the broadcast earlier, I did about 12 minutes and then I realized that I didn't have sound in part of it, so I'm starting it again. You know, we do live in a dynamic universe where we can make things work. And that's what that's what's just it's all good. It's always good. Perfect timing. So, hi. I'm sure glad to be here with you today. I love doing this broadcast, and I also have a blog talk radio broadcast that I give on Tuesdays it starts at 10 and my part's at 10:30. And we also have Carol Hess on that one, Star Polisher, and Evelyn. Evelyn Canos, I'm not going to say her name correctly, so I'm not even going to try. But check us out. It's called The Golden Goddess, and it's for those who are over 50 and on up. But it's really stuff that information that any age can use, and I think you'll love that too. So right now, I want to talk about this Ustream because this Ustream is in this moment and it is live and it's going to be so, so, so good. So, my course topic for today is intention. So, you are so free. You are so free. You can choose esclavage or slavery or freedom. Now, esclavage means French for slavery. So, what do you want? Esclavage or freedom? Think about it. So, first, before I start that, I'm going to talk about last week. And last week, we did a lot of things, but first I wanted to run my credits because I have this all keyed up here. So this is my business card, Sandra Longmore, Law of Attraction, and this is my bio. I'm a life coach, a certified energy master as of March. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to get that one quite yet. March 2004 is when I get that one. And I'm a certified Law of Attraction trainer. And I'm a certified Master Vision Board trainer. I'm a published author and an educator of the arts. I have 125 students that I teach art to every week. And I have like about 9,000 hours of teaching, just teaching creativity to my students and clients. So, yeah, I like my life. And you can contact me. In fact, contact me. I'd love that. Come on and be my friend at Facebook. I'm under Sandra Longmore. Everything is my name, Sandra Longmore. I'm under Sandra Longmore is my personal page. And then I'm also under Sandra Longmore Transformational Coach is my business page. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I love technology. I love learning more and more about it, and it just makes me fun. I think it's fun, and I really really like it. So now we're going to review what happened last week. So last week on both the Blog Talk Radio and on the Golden Bridge program here, we talked about 7 keys. 7 keys to finding out if you are a coward to give and how to change that situation if you want to get out of cowardness and into something far more rewarding. So you will learn learned how to tap into your subconscious mind. Doesn't that sound pretty thrilling to tap into the subconscious mind? It's always with you, and it can be your very best friend. So I gave you 7 keys last time, 5, 6, 7. I have to get used to how my hands look on the screen. There you are, 7 keys last week. And the first key was to get your subconscious attention. And you get the subconscious attention, and that was the second key, by creating a sandwich. And you create this sandwich in your sleep time. So this is like the top bread and the bottom bread, and this is your sleep time. And so the top piece of bread in a sandwich is pre-paving or talking to your subconscious about what you want it to work out during the night. And during your sleep time, your subconscious is very, very active. It is working out your problems, it is working out solutions, and it's having fun with you. And if you learn how to read the vocabulary of the sleep time, you will be so amazed and have so much fun. And so then you pre-pave the night before, you gain the subconscious attention and put it to work, and it just works all night at creating things that will get your attention during the day. And then in the morning, you eat the sandwich. You capture all this good information. And you do that by writing in a journal, a wisdom journal. And I gave you a ritual for that last night. I gave you some different steps to do for analyzing your dreams, and they're just amazing. Maybe I'll put together a program on that sometime because it's really, really very, very valuable information. So now we're down to step 3 or key 3, and key 3 was ninja awareness. And ninja awareness is like be like a ninja. Ninjas are like when they enter a room, from what I understand of ninjas, when they enter a room, they memorize everything in the room. They find out what is where everything is so that if they need to go back there at night, they can do it without making any noise. So become aware of about your whole environment, your physical environment, your mental environment, your info energy that's coming in from your body and from everything around you. We live in a dynamic universe. We live in a universe that is so much fun, and we get to manifest it and play with it here while we're in this container, in this body. So, become a ninja awareness was one of the keys. The fourth key was to play big. Play big. You are big. You are so big beyond your wildest imagination. You are bigger than you are expanded energy. You are so big. You are 97%. That is the bigness of you. And the 4% is this. This is the bones and the blood and the manifestations that we have during our life. That's only 4%. 4%. And the rest of us is 96%. Wowee! This is so huge. You are big. So the fifth key was to know you are big. Know that you are bigger than you can possibly imagine. So just breathe it in and know that. And then 6 is to keep that charge going. Keep that charge going. Love your life. The best way to keep your charge going is to stay in a positive thought form and say things that keep you positive. And then number 7 key was to have fun. Just have fun with all of it, because have fun, that's a high flying vibe. That's a high flying disc. As Esther Hicks says it, it's the vortex. Having fun, you can tap right into that vortex, into the 97%. And it is awesome to be able to do that. And the next thing I wanted to share with you is that last night, this became very apparent to me. This is the last golden bridge. Now, the last golden bridge is the one that you cross right as your container in this life is folding. It's folding up. Now, when I first talked about having my program here, and Ann White, the creator of the Creating Calm Network, asked me what I would like to call my program, I said the Golden Bridge, and she said, bridges or bridge? And I thought about it, No, I would like the Golden Bridge. We cross a lot of bridges during our life, but the most important one that we're preparing for is the big celebration at the end, the last Golden Bridge. And only when we can come to a peaceful feeling about that last Golden Bridge will we truly be able to live our lives here in the 4% manifestation time-based reality. So this last golden bridge, I created this image from different images, and I thought it just turned out beautiful. And I created that after a call I got from my brother. My mother is in the hospital again, this time with a 50-50 chance of staying or passing over the last golden bridge. Yeah, and we are all waiting, the whole family is waiting to see what she and her connection to all that is, God, Goddess, all that is, that 96% decides. I really think it's a mutual thing. And this is a picture of my mother and me. I painted this a while back when I look like I'm a few months old there. I can sit up, hold my head up, and my beautiful mother, Marjorie Hilden. So Marjorie was born in Killdeer, North Dakota. And her mother was a kind of a midwife, and she helped her neighbors when they gave birth. So I imagine that she knew a lot about birthing babies. And I just kind of thought about the scene as I write this. So they had wood heat at that time in North Dakota. They didn't have any central heat. They had pump water and went outside and would pump the water. She would tell me about that. She'd tell me all these stories. And then they would have to drink out of a mutual cup. Can you imagine us today with all our hand sanitizing and germ prevention and everything? Well, in those days, they just drank out of the same cup as they got their drinks. I think they were stronger. They had stronger immune systems, maybe, or maybe it was just their thought patterns. I don't know. But anyway, the heat wasn't needed because it was August. It was August when she was born. And on the birth certificate, the doctor wrote August 5th, 1919. But later, my mother found a letter from my Aunt Bessie where she spoke of how happy that little Margie had decided to come into the world, and the date was August 4th, 1919. That makes her 93 years old, in case you're wondering. So on anything, everything legal, the date was August 5th. And on everything that was real, like our birthdays and our celebrations, the date of her birth was August 4th. So I reflect on this as I think of the energies of this time-based reality that we call real. That we call real. Now, the legal part of the world, like your news media and what you observe on TV and in the news paper, tells you one thing: this is real. We are in a recession. This is real. This is happening. This is happening. One point of view here is real. And you might say, but it is real. I read it in the newspaper. It is real. I heard it on the TV. And so you tell your neighbor, it's real. They say it's real. Or you overhear someone say, I read it in a magazine. I heard it on the radio. Or you observe a similar circumstance in your own life. You know, things aren't so hot right now. We don't have a lot of money. And you say, this is real. It's because we're in a recession. But I ask you, is it really, really real? Just like the birth certificate of my mother's. Now, this has always been a family debate, you know, within our family. So I want you to think about my Aunt Bessie. Yeah, my Aunt Bessie, she had that gift of saying everything was right, and she kind of knew what was right. And so she observed something different and she wrote it down. And so then the family went by her records. So now what do you think? Do you observe something, maybe even write it down, and then even though it's not what your neighbor's saying or not what the TV's saying, and you feel different about it inside, is that real? So what is real? What is real is more than you even intuitively know. So I reflect on this. I think of my mother and her standing at the foot of the last golden bridge. This is real, everybody says. Your mother will no longer live. The doctor says she may be going into hospice. But I really don't think this is the way it goes. I know in my mind and in my heart this is different. There is something different going on here. My mentor and spiritual guide, Swami Seshananda, always told me we were never born and we never ever die. And in First Corinthians, there's a quote that I just love. It's like this one. First Corinthians, or Second Corinthians 5, 6 through 8. We are always of good courage. We know that while we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Yes, we are of good courage, and we would rather be away from the body and at home with the Lord. Is that real? Is that real? Well, it is the ultimate to not be a coward and to give it all to God while still in the body. And this is where the learning, the struggle happens in the body, in the container. But this is also where the great, great expansion of you happens. You are an expanded being. So, to learn how to live in this expanded state of joy, to learn to expand in the happiness of your day to day existence is so very, very important, especially as you get ready to cross that last golden bridge. And all of us are going to do it, it's a given. Now, I love to read Rumi. Have you ever heard of Rumi? Rumi he is a poet and a philosopher. He was a 13th century Persian poet, a theologian, and he was considered transcendent in his message. It really went beyond all national and ethnic borders. His poems have been widely translated into many of the world's languages and transposed into various formats. In 2007, he was described as the most popular poet in America. Rumi loved books. And as the story goes, when he met his teacher, Shams looked at him with all his books and he threw his books in the water. And he said, "This is not what you seek. It is not in a book." And then he wrote all these beautiful, beautiful poems. Now his followers started the dervish. I don't know if you call it a religion, but the dervish movement. And it was established, and people joined it, and they did these dances, these whirling dances. And this is a really cool picture of a dancer in ecstasy here, and this is the costume they wear. It's a sacred white costume, and they have these long cone caps. And I had the privilege of observing one person who was a dervish do this dance, and it was at a place I was at in Whidbey Island in Washington State. And I was at a retreat there with Deborah Koff Chapman of Touch Drawing. And at that time, we were able to watch someone do this dance, and he said he ordinarily doesn't do the dance for the public, but because we were an intimate group, we were there for to raise consciousness, our own consciousness, to learn more about ourselves through this process of touch drawing. And we were going through a lot of changes and shifts in our own consciousness. He did do it, and it was amazing. He danced about 20 minutes, and you could tell as from the time he started and till close to the end, his face was transformed into a kind of ecstasy, and it was beautiful. And also the whole group of us were uplifted by what he was performing. So think about that. Think about what you do. Is your face transformed into a kind of happiness, ecstasy, connection with the divine, connection with the your most expanded self? Yeah, we can see it in others, but try putting it on for yourself today, tomorrow. Program it into your sleep. That's what you're here for, is joy and passion. Now, Rumi believed in passion as the use, and he he put it out there in the way manifested it in the way of music, poetry, and dance. And this was a path for him and his followers to reach God. So for Rumi, music helped his devotees to focus on the whole being, on the divine, and to do this so intensely that the soul was both destroyed and resurrected in the dance. And it was these ideas that the practice of those whirling dervishes developed in a ritual form. One of the poems he left in a book that got my interest at this time of the last golden bridge of my mother. It says, "Die happily and look forward to taking up a new and better form. Like the sun, only when you set in the west can you rise in the east." So I took that to heart. And as you can see, this is a different subject in that it does go into the dying process. It goes into my own ideas, my own digesting of the dying process. I might say when I talked to my brother, I told him I was at peace for this if she should decide to go at this time. I felt completely at peace. In fact, I could feel kind of not an actual voice, but I could feel her presence as she talked to me about the things I love to do. And what a good place she is in right now. So I was curious about the physical changes spiritually, physically, mentally, how it affects me, how it affects my family, how it affects my mom. And I looked up some stuff on the internet. I Googled it. I found out that some of the physical changes to expect in the process of dying are very similar to those being born. So, over 9 months, a child goes through many stages of development that lead to the last one, which is labor and birth. Now, those of us who have given birth know this very, very well. Yeah, we know it very, very well. And in a similar way, a person with advanced illness goes through these many changes over an extended period of time. And there are clear changes occurring at the final stage, at the crossing of the final golden bridge. There are physical changes and emotional changes and spiritual changes as well, in which the person lets go of the body and the material world. It is not known what is happening at this stage, but I choose to believe it is all happening according to the grand plan of the transition stage of crossing the final bridge. Now, after writing this, I am wondering, what can I share with you in our field today that will help you live your life right now, right here, according to God's plan? Dying or living, transitions going over the final bridge, the final golden bridge, is a given. We're all going to do it, just like we all got born in this world. And so I thought about this. Sometimes you might think, well, we are going to do this, and we'd like to accomplish some things before we go. We'd like to accomplish things right now, have things different in our life. And so you might want to have those times of your life be a little better. You might be like to become more in alignment with this time you have. And so you glance back and you think about, I'd like to have more out of this great adventure. And so I went ahead and I did some more research. I found a Roman philosopher who says some things here. He says, his name is Seneca, and he says, "The day which we fear is our last is but the birth date of eternity." So in honor of my mother, in honor of Seneca, Buddha, Divine Mother, Christ, and all that is holy, and an uplifter of our humanity, our human condition, I just want to take time to introduce an exercise for you to look at the whole spectrum of your energy, the whole thing. And that is the life wheel. Now, the life wheel, it's very, very precious. You know, our life wheel, it's very, very precious. It's given to us by God. And now it's up to us how we're going to live it, how we're going to play it out, how we're going to manifest with it. And as Abraham Hicks says, you know, the basis of your life is freedom. The purpose of your life is joy. You are so free to choose to discover new avenues for joy. In your joy, you will have growth. And in your joyous growth, you will add to the growth experience of all that is. However, you are still free. That's part of this time-based reality, is this freedom. You are still so free to 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 choose bondage or pain. So you have a choice. You have a choice. And what do you choose? Do you choose freedom or do you choose struggle? Well, naturally, you choose freedom, but maybe it's not so easy sometimes. So now I want to tell you about the life wheel. Now, the life wheel is a snapshot, just a little snapshot of right now, today, in this red hot moment, as Abraham says. It's to take an inventory of your life story and your day to day existence and uncover what is important and meaningful areas of your life. This is, again, meant to be a little snapshot, not all your future, not all your past. And so I'm going to introduce you now to the life wheel. And this is a life wheel that I downloaded from the internet. It's a colorful one. I liked it because it was colorful. And it has an inner wheel here, and it has all these segments, and then it has things written around the outside. And we're going to do a simplified version of this life wheel, and I think you are going to just love it. And I have a new little tool here. It's right here. So this is a new tool. It's a new camera that I got called the Logitech webcam. And so I have created a circle. And so this is what I'd like you to do, is get a piece of paper and a pencil and draw a circle. And when you finish these steps of your circle, you're going to see it here also, but you're going to have a drawing with that's a circle. It's going to look like a wheel with 8 spokes. So first of all, draw that circle like that, and then divide it into 8. So first draw a cross like this, and then draw it this way and this way. This is so cool. I have a visual. My goodness, I love this. But it's not showing up on my thing. Why isn't it? I just drew it. Strange. I don't know why it's not showing. I think I might have ran out of battery. I'm so sorry. I think I might have ran out of battery. So we'll just go with this. Yeah, it went off. I ran out of battery. Okay, another lesson learned. Bring your battery cord. Okay, so here's my life wheel. And what you do is you draw a cross in the middle, and then you make another diagonal line across the cross and another one the other way. So now you should have something that looks like maybe an orange. If you opened up an orange with 8 sections or 8 spokes on a wheel. And this is called your life wheel. So no worries if it isn't perfect. And now you're going to label each one of those sections and with meaningful life values. And I did write these here beside the life wheel. I don't know how visual they are, but I will go over them anyway. So on each of your spokes of your life wheel, you're going to put meaningful life values in the areas of your life that you want, and I'll suggest some for you. So you might just make the list on down the side of your life wheel and enter things that you feel might be what you'd like. So the first one is you could put your physical environment, like your home or your work, your yard, or anything that you observe physically every single day. And the second thing on your life wheel could be your career or work. So how do you feel about your work or about your career? Are there changes you would like to see? And then the third one is financial security. That would be right now. How are you feeling about your security around money? Are you satisfied, or do you wish there was more each month? Next would be health and well-being. Do you feel wonderful and secure in your health habits, or would you like to see some changes here as well? And next on that wheel, put friends and family. Is your family or the friends supporting you as you would like, or do they bring you down? Do you find it's hard to keep a positive vibration around your friends and family? I'm going to switch right now back to the life wheel that I got off the internet there. So this is how yours should look, not quite like this, but just a round circle with these segments here. And then on the top, you are putting these different categories. So after friends and family, then is romantic relationships or significant other. Now, do you yearn for more? Do you yearn for more in this department? Do you want something that's satisfying and it doesn't have to be with a person. Maybe you want a puppy, What kind of romance or good feeling, kind of heart feeling do you want? Maybe it's just a new group that you want to join. It's a a romantic is kind of the love relationship. Maybe I should put that there. Love relationship, because love is a really good vibration. Anyway, going on. The next one is personal growth. Do you spend more time on your own personal growth? Do you see the importance in taking care of yourself? Patting yourself on the back when you need it and taking your vitamins and your green smoothie or whatever it is you need. Where are you there? And then try fun and recreation. How'd they do that? Whoa, Just goes, woo, that's how fast I can do that. Awesome. Okay, so then next is fun and recreation. So does the word fun come out of you often? Do you seek fun and make time for recreation? Now, other categories you could add, maybe that are important to you, might be something like motherhood or travel, purpose, contribution, spirituality, and education, or anything, absolutely anything that is high value for you. Remember, the sky is the limit here, and we have a very, very huge sky. 96%. So now pick the top 8 values that are most important for your desired lifestyle. This means you can just do the ones you already wrote down, or you can switch to something better. So just take a few minutes and review what is on the 8 sections of your life wheel. Now, it's important right now to trust your inner guidance, your gut level feeling. And when you identify the areas of your most important value, so go ahead and label them if you haven't yet. Label them around that wheel, just right around there. Just go ahead and label them. And I'll give you a few more minutes here. Don't want to go too fast, don't want to go too slow. Okay, now, do you have your wheels labeled? Hmm? If not, you can always do this later. So remember, it's really important to remember that they're not set in concrete, these values. We live in a dynamic life, and so they are going to change. And this just, that's the way of your life's energies. Dynamic, changing, manifesting, creating, tweaking it, thinking of something else. Your source absolutely loves a new desire. And if your life's wheel, you think it does need some shifting and tweaking, you can adjust the values at any time, anytime. So now let's get back to drawing the life wheel. So now at the dot, there's a dot at the center of the wheel right here. And at this dot, you put a 0. And I'm going to just switch over here to the next slide right here. And this is an example of just one I send my clients to do their life wheel work, but it's kind of light, so I don't think that's really helpful for you. So here's one that has been finished, and this is actually a life wheel after mapping. So right now you want to put a 0 here. I don't know why that's there. You want to put a 0 there, a 0 there, and then you want to put a 10 here. And then these are the labels that have been put around the wheel. And then between the 0 and the 10, you create a dot. And this person's dot right here was probably at about maybe a 4. And all around each of those segments, you put a dot. And then you connect the dots. And this person's life wheel looks like this after they've connected all those dots around their categories of values. So you just are rating yourself. Now, if you are in on the fun and you feel you're at a 6, just do it. Put it at the 6, and then you connect all the dots. And you can do this anytime you want. You can just do it at any time. Just get out a piece of paper and do it. But remember, this is for our purpose is to just do the wheel in this snapshot moment as you're listening to this broadcast. So now look at your circle. Is it lumpy? Like this person's, the lines kind of go up and down and up and down. They've got some high ones, they've got some low ones. When I first saw mine was pretty lumpy. And so then you see that there are some areas that are incongruent, maybe out of balance. And the truth is, not all the time are you going to be in balance. And that is so okay. That is so okay to be unbalanced, lumpy on your wheel. Because sometimes we intentionally put more focus in one area for a brief time, say to meet a goal, or we back off in one particular area and then spend more time in another. And then we enter our focus later after taking, say, a little hiatus for a career or having a baby or just family cares. Your parents are getting older and they need more care, or there are all kinds of things that can happen, and that's a planned uh, occurrence. And or it might be a family emergency, and that's okay too. Your life wheel will look different, but when this is happening, it's intentionally. The things we want to look at is those that are lacking and not intentionally and unbalanced, and we want to do something about them. And so maybe you're out of control, or maybe those areas are not ignored, they're completely ignored. So the idea of this is to give you some ideas and have those light bulb moments of awareness, those ninja moments where the light goes on. So just take this and notice it. So are these areas of your feeling of your life that you want a higher score? Are there? And this is not about making yourself wrong or not about feeling bad. This just is. And it's to bring in more awareness in your life story. It's to bring the whole spectrum of your life right before your eyes right now. Now, it's hard to go someplace new. It really is hard. And if we don't know where the road is foggy or unclear, muddled, the life wheel is going to show that. And so I just wanted to share one of the biggest awarenesses I had in my life wheel was when I did notice I did have a lumpy wheel. And I used that. I used that to birth a new desire to change something. For example, it was my physical environment. And my physical environment, the one that mainly I wanted to change was my bathroom. It was just blah. It didn't do anything for me. And so I thought, well, how can I change it to make my life wheel better right this day? What can I do? And, you know, I'm a woman. Of course, I went shopping and I just bought some things. I bought a Buddha. I bought a sand kind of mapping thing that you can do with sand and a rake, little tiny mini one that fits on my ledge there above my bath. And it just made such a difference to me. Very small investment, but it lifted my spirits knowing that more is to come in my physical environment, more good things to look forward to in my physical environment. And so I was able to lift it up from like a 2 to a 10 in that moment. And not that there's not more that's going to be done in my environment, but right now the important thing was to lift me up. And there were also things on my wheel that I felt really, really grateful for. I have good health. I have great health. At 71, the doctors and my friends, they're just amazed at my age. They say, "You have your spirit's so light, and you look so good, and you don't need to take any prescriptions." So I feel great, and I do like how I look in the mirror most of the time. So this is kind of an enlightened exercise. It's to enlighten you up and to just focus on areas you might want to shift and to know that you have the power to shift them. So you might want to take more time on this later. You have your whole lifetime to tweak and adjust the wheel. But the important thing is, as Rumi says, the poet Rumi, he says, look forward to taking up a new and better form. Like the sun, only when you set in the west can you rise in the east. So, how do you do this? How do you live your life in joy? You know, how do you do this? How do you live your life in joy and celebration and know that there are a lot of bridges of life that you're going to be learning and crossing here and there? There's going to be winter bridges and there's going to be summer bridges. There they are. There's going to be winter bridges and summer bridges, and they're all good. Sometimes you might have to bundle up, And sometimes you might just have to skip across the bridge once in a while. It's all good. So it's something of a grand celebration waiting for you at the last golden bridge. There it is again, the last golden bridge. So why is this so important, or what is the practical application of all this? The practical application is because it is more fun. It is far more fun to be enlightenment and be in the greatest celebration of all that is, and to live this very moment in love and joy. So what you have learned is that the transition from life to death is not real. You were never born, you never die. This is your next most evolved step after the golden bridge. There is no death, only a change of your focus of attention. So there is a time to live today in celebration of all you are. For this is a life truly lived, well lived. My beautiful friends, smile. Spread the joy of your innermost being, and the whole world, all the heavenly beings, will celebrate you and the service that you give to the world. So that ends my broadcast for today. I love that you joined me. Next week will be another one. And for now, go out, spread joy. Just love. Just love everybody. Appreciate the moment. Those are all really high flying vibes. So bye for now. This is Sandra Longmore signing off from the CCN broadcast, Creating Calm Network with Ann White. And also, one last parting thing is we would love it if you went over to the Creating Calm Network and signed up for our newsletter, and you could find out what programs are going to be on next week and what you're going to see. So, bye for now.